Mile, how special a day is the final?
Yeah, it's obviously we know what's at stake, and it's one of those days where you sort of can't let it pass you by. It's nice to know what you're playing for and what's at stake, but it's also nice knowing that who's going to be watching and how much it means to everybody involved, not only on the playing field but in the stands and watching on the tellies around the world.
You've been there before, you've won there before. How much do you draw on that experience?
Yeah, look, I think I just have to cast my mind back to the first time when I did go there and the build up into that, and some of the key sort of moments that I thought were key at the time, and it was just getting that little bit of knowledge off a manager, a teammate who had been there, and how I thought, that's looking back on it now, maybe not appreciating it as much then, but looking back on it now and thinking, yeah, that was actually a really good thing, why we did that or what was said to me then. So if I can pass some of that knowledge on now, and if some of my teammates can do that for some of the other boys, then yeah, I'll be doing everything I possibly can to make it happen.
Is that experience valuable? Can it make the difference?
I don't know, everyone goes on about it but to be honest, having being in the position now and even the 2 games that just went by and being in that position before, yeah, it does go a long way. It does, because you almost know what to expect. Obviously, the game's the game, and you've got to do that. You've got to go and manage that and put in a performance, put in a shift. That doesn't change. But the build up and that's pretty similar. Obviously the opposition and where I'm at now in my career with this group, and obviously the opposition, that's different to back then, but you're always going to have to put in a proper shift on that day and on that pitch to make sure that you come out with the most positive outcome.
Your goal against Middlesbrough in the first leg proved enough to get you through to the final. How do you look back on those 2 matches against Middlesbrough?
Obviously, one goal. I think one goal speaks for itself. It was a tight contest. I think the word that comes to mind from my point of view and from our point of view was discipline. Discipline in knowing when to go forward and knowing when we had to get back into our shape and defend. And it's a team effort. That it's everybody and everybody understanding their role within the team and making sure that they did everything they possibly can to make sure we got the desired outcome. And like you said, it was a 0-0 on Tuesday. Probably we would have loved to have a goal, especially I think because the fans deserved it. They were incredible, but it wasn't meant to be, but they stuck by us no matter what. They still made it such a great atmosphere, and we fed off that. And I don't say that lightly. We fed off that, especially, in that second half when, it felt like the roof was going to fall off. It was unreal.
Do you sense you've been living with a sense of expectation since at the start of the season? Aston Villa made some key signings.
It's a sense of expectation since I got here. It's not just this season. It's the expectation you put on yourself. It's the expectation, the demand you put on yourself as an individual, and trying to get the best out of yourself and making sure that if you can do everything you possibly can to make sure that everyone around you is doing the right thing and at all times, and making sure that if they're not understanding it, then try everything you can to make them understand. And if it doesn't happen, then it's not happening. But sometimes that's not enough, and sometimes that doesn't get you the results you want. And it's fair to say last year was like that. But when you look at the season this year, and like you said, you mentioned there, you look at the additions within the squad, you knew that there'd still be an almighty task to try and get us to where we wanted, but we were probably in a better place, and that's proved to be the right judgment, and we've been now given this opportunity to try and make something special happen at this football club, and we don't want to let it pass us by. And I'll do everything I possibly can up until that point to make sure that we're ready to go on that Saturday.
Does Aston Villa need to be back in the Premier League? Is that where it belongs?
Yeah, if you there's no one's got a divine right to get to the Premier League. That's you can't think like that. But does this club, with all its history and everything else, deserve to be in the Premier League? Without a shadow of a doubt. To be tasked with that responsibility of trying to do it, I think the boys and everyone in that squad realises that, and they're looking forward to that. No one's really shying away from that anymore, which has taken time, and it's taken a lot of hard work, sweat and tears, as they say. But we're all sort of galvanised and ready to put in one big performance.
What are the qualities that get you through on the day?
What are the qualities that get us through? I think you mentioned that togetherness and stuff. This togetherness that we've got, having seen this these last two legs where we were able to manage that, it'll be about that. And obviously we're going to get asked to do something, from the gaffer, and we'll be working on that, no doubt about that, with regards to the opposition. And it'll be up to us on the day to make sure that we make that happen. How do you do that? Doesn't always go your way or get all that, but knowing, and when you look around on the pitch, and you look around the changing room, and you see what's next to you and around you, and what experience, and even not experience, what youthful exuberance is around, and you just think to yourself, no, we'll try and make this happen the best we can, and it'll be no different on Saturday.
Bearing in mind you've talked about how tight the two games were against Middlesbrough, do you think it could be different against Fulham because of the style that they play and the style that you played this season?
Potentially, but I don't see it as I see it as they're always a bit tight affairs, these playoff finals. It's having had the experience, we went to extra time in ours, and it was a cagey affair. We actually had the better of it. We probably should have won the game in the 90 minutes, but it wasn't happened just for that reason. It's a playoff. Everyone wants to scrap and do their bit. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to really say. Obviously, with the way the style of play, yeah, you could suggest maybe not, but it's really difficult to pick.
You talked about the atmosphere for the second leg of the playoff semi-final. The atmosphere at Wembley can be incredible, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's going to be unbelievable. If anyone hasn't experienced it, and that's going to the game, they're in for they're going to have a smile on their face the whole day, because it's an unreal experience, going there to support your club and being behind them, and for them to have the privilege of going there and playing there. It's quite an incredible atmosphere.
They say that if you can guarantee it, going up to the playoffs is the most exciting way to do it. Would you agree with that? Have you done it?
Yeah, it is. Like, obviously, it's nice. It'd be nice to go up as champions as well. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's, who wouldn't want to be? You've got to, but it's obviously the most nerve-wracking way for people. But yeah, it is a pretty special day when you do go up that way. And looking back on it, yeah, I wouldn't change that for the world, because that day, that outcome, the whole build up to that point was incredible. It was an incredible journey for a group, and I'm seeing similarities to that now with this group.
And just one from me. I mean, you've talked about what you do for yourselves and your teammates, for the fans as well. What about also for the manager, because he has had such a difficult time recently?
Yeah, it goes without saying. I think the broader, maybe having not mentioned it, but he knows. I think he knows. He comes into our thoughts, goes without saying. You know, we know what he's been through, and it's difficult. It's difficult for anyone to keep that focus, and you know, that to sort of come into work and make sure that we're on it, and we've understood that and we've respected that immensely, and we know that there's a responsibility for us, from us to him, to make sure that this happens and it happens the right way.